Before I get into the review, I just need to quickly apologise for my lack of uploads. There's going to be a little bit of a rocky upload pattern towards Christmas. There isn't really much coming out in terms of new albums, so as I want to review a lot of the new stuff that comes out, I won't be able to do that straight away, and that's the problem due to the fact that, well, there's not really much coming out. So I have got some projects prepared already, and I'm going to start working on them after this video has been released. I've got 3 videos planned. These are going to be bigger ones. They're not just going to be, like a normal review where you just listen, where you just literally listen to an album, record my opinion on it, edit it, and upload it. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be a little bit different this time. I got the first thing I'm working on is a compilation of all the albums I've missed. In terms of reviewing, because there is a bunch I want to talk about. There's the new Ask Alexandra album that I missed, and I definitely was going to talk about that. There is the Red Hook record that I definitely had a review for, and I never got around to uploading it, so I might as well re-record it with 6 months of giving it another listen to see what I think of it, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of stuff I have not gone through, especially Metallica and the Rolling Stones. I know they've had pretty big albums this year, so I did want to kind of talk about them at some point, so that's what that video is going to be about. The other 2 are going to be posted around more Christmas time, because I'm going to be doing my favourite albums of the year. So I have a list of 25 of the best and worst albums. They're going to be separate videos, the best and worst, and pretty much giving it through there, and we're going to see which album out of all the ones I've reviewed is going to be in my personal album of the year. I've had album of the years for the last few years, but this is the one where I'm really deciding to, with all the, especially since it's my first year reviewing, I really feel like whatever I'm giving album of the year, it has a lot of good points. I've got a lot of positivity towards it, and it's not just because I vibe with it and I think it's cool. I think it's probably some of the best stuff I've got out there. So I definitely have been working on this list, but it might change because there are still some albums to come out, but I've already started working on all of this. So that is going to be the overall thing I'm working on. So let's get back into the review of Windwalker's second album, What If I Break. Now, the band had an indefinite hiatus because of the lead singer, I believe, there was a lot of drama. He said a lot of racist comments, and I think there was even some problems with his ex, but I'm not going to elaborate because I don't know. I just kind of read what I've seen on Reddit about the old lead singer. We got a new one for the band, so that's good, because now we've got someone who can take over as the lead singer, and I think he offers a pretty good pretty good vocal enhancement to it. Honestly, from the snippets I've heard from the first vocalist in the first album, I must say I prefer this vocalist. I don't know what it is, I just think it works really well. The band gives this a little bit more of a metalcore, blending in with, I guess, little bits of post-hardcore and just more poppy elements here and there between tracks like Euphoria. Even some stuff like Bodybag and Hangfire definitely has some of the more poppier feel to it, and that's fine because a lot of metalcore bands have been incorporating that. I mean, Caskets does have elements of pop here and there on a few tracks. There's a lot of bands that have been going for a softer, just a more radio-friendly approach, because it does well, but not just that, it gives a little bit more variety in it. You can make a song incredibly heavy, you can make a song incredibly light, and they do have some pretty heavy bangers on this one. Like the Overlook is one that I think is definitely the best track on the record. Took me by surprise. It is just absolutely great, and it's one of the examples where I think they definitely have a good balance between just how heavy they can get, and then you go into something like Losing My Colour, which is a bit softer, especially towards the start. I like the contrast between that. I think they have a really good flow as well, and I honestly really enjoy the elements that we have in this record. Feeding the Gods is the first track, and I think this one stood out to me. I just love the incorporation of it. It's the one that I would say is definitely my first Windwalkers track, and I think the experience there has been going into, I don't know what to expect, and kind of knew what to expect after the first few tracks. I've seen people say that this record, or at least this band, kind of reminds them of Bring Me the Horizon and some of the other metalcore acts, and I don't really hear it. to me it just kind of feels like, you know, an average metalcore album. I don't think Windwalkers necessarily have their entire own unique spin, because elements here do feel familiar in the genre. I could listen to this and think, oh, okay, so some of it kind of reminds me of Holding Absent, some of it kind of reminds me of, I don't know, Casket. Some of them, there's going to be a lot of bands that kind of have similarities to it. The Windwalkers are going to build up their own identity, because I think some of the tracks already did a good job. But to me, I don't think this album is necessarily something that feels concrete and just definitely in terms of their own unique sound. Catch Your Breath did a debut album this year that I reviewed. It's a metalcore band, and the reason I think that works is because they had kind of this own style to go for, and the band definitely is building it here. I think with the new singer they do a much better job than the first album, but at the same time it doesn't necessarily feel anything unique to me as well. It kind of feels like something I probably would have heard of at some point. It doesn't really have many songs that just completely pull me in, but with tracks like Drowning Hymns, The Overlook, hell, I even like Dissipate, I think there's some really good, some gold on this. Even if it's not as unique as it could be, I feel like it's kind of going for the more mainstream, just the more, well, I don't want to say generic, but it's kind of like feeling like it fits into the standard sound of what you'd expect metalcore to be like now, and I think that's fine. But the elements that they push definitely to make it feel less like that and feel more unique, I think they push to a good degree. I think this record definitely has good moments, and I don't think there's a dull point at all. If I had to say the least favourite track would be Euphoria, just because I don't like some of the editing choices on it. I just think it kind of feels like there's some unnecessary points to this track, but even then, it's not a bad song. I don't think there is anything bad on this album either. This album, I'm probably going to give it a 3 out of 5. Sounds fair to me. So that is my review. I am going to see and trying to see how many reviews I can get to working on now, but the main project I'm working on is stuff that I've missed, and if there is some stuff in December that I don't get to cover, I will try and put it on there. But if I have missed something that you have listened to, that's not because I ignored it, that is because I actually have generally forgot. I have been trying to review everything I've found. With that being said, hope you guys enjoy, thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.